What's going on, everyone? This is Lucas Ross Sports. Lucas Ross, your commentator. We continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Louisville Cardinals are up next. I will give you an official prediction for this team, give you my thoughts on this team, and go through the schedule, and I will go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Louisville team. The 2021 season for the Louisville Cardinals, they were 6-7 last year, plenty of stuff to build on. Went to a bowl game last year. It was a up and down season for Louisville, but something to build on. The offense and defensive rankings last year, Louisville was 41st on offense last year. So, that's a really good sign to see Louisville in the 40 category. This offense could be really explosive this year. Defensively, 77th in the country. The defense has a lot to improve this year, but I think I see this Louisville team being a really good threat in the ACC, maybe. Last year's offense averaged 31.6 a game, 31.6 points per game offensively. Defensively, they gave up 27.3 points. Defense has a lot to improve, but I think the defense is going to be overall pretty good this year. They have a quiet bit coming back this year. Offensively, they're going to be really good. Let's be honest, the offense is going to be maybe one of those offenses that can really surprise a lot of people, but does Louisville have the talent? That is the question, but we got to go through the schedule and see what they will look like. And here's that schedule for 2022 for the Louisville Cardinals, and then you see that opening game on the road at Syracuse. Tough place to play here. Syracuse is going to be an interesting team this year. There's a lot of, expectations for Syracuse to get to a bowl game this year. I've heard Syracuse is going to be maybe a good threat in the Coastal Division. I really don't see Syracuse being a big threat, but I haven't really studied them yet. I'm getting to where I get through all these teams here. So, Louisville, I think, goes in on the road, and I think they do defeat Syracuse, and they come out with a win there on the road. It's going to be a tough place to play, but I think Louisville's offense will start out strong. And there's that game on the road at UCF. This game is on September 9th. This game was played last year at Louisville. We saw Louisville come out with the win, and it was really surprising. I thought UCF had a lot of chances in this game, but it wasn't really, meant to be. And I think this game right here is a little bit closer than last year as well. Maybe a 4-point favorite for Louisville in this game, but it's on the road. It's going to be a tough place to play, but I had to go with Louisville. I think with the offense they have coming back, I think Louisville does get it done on the road at UCF, so that is an interesting matchup there you don't want to sleep on. And then there's that game at home against Florida State. I said it, Florida State might have the best defense coming in the country this year in the ACC, I think, as well. I think Florida State is a really dangerous contender this year in the ACC. The question is, how will they do against this Louisville offense? I have to tell you, I think it's going to be a short-scoring game. Maybe a defensive battle, probably, but, Florida State, we know they haven't been good in the last few years, but I think this is a better team than people might expect. I think Florida State, though, is going to get it done here, and like I said in my Florida State video, I think Florida State does come out with a win here against Louisville. And Louisville takes care of business against USF, so they get a break there, get a redemption win there, so it's a game they should take care of business in. And there's that game on the road at Boston College. Boston College is a team that, I'm not really high on this year. I think the returning production is not really good for Boston College. They could still surprise some people, but I don't really see Boston College being a threat in this one. It's going to be a tough place to play, no doubt about it. But, Louisville, I think, will go in there on the road and defeat Boston College. And I think they will improve to 4-1. Next game is on the road at Virginia. Another team that, is kind of struggling a little bit. We know Virginia wasn't, a real threat last year, but I think this year they're really young. Let's be honest, Virginia doesn't really have a lot coming back on both sides of the ball. They're really close to being last in the country on returning production. And I think Louisville, though, with that, offense there, I think they're going to explode in this game. I think this is the game Louisville probably does score maybe 30 points, but I think Louisville does win this one on the road at Virginia. It's going to be maybe a scare in the first quarter maybe, but I think Louisville does win at the end of the day. Next game is at home against Pittsburgh. This one is on October 22nd. Pittsburgh is a team that was really good last year. They have a lot coming back again this year. Both offenses are pretty explosive here in this game. The home field advantage, though, I got to give it to Louisville, and I got to give the advantage to Louisville in this game. I think Louisville does defeat Pittsburgh. I know it sounds crazy that I'm going with Louisville here, but I think Louisville's offense is really talented enough to where they can beat Pittsburgh. I think they'll be, fired up. And they get a bye week before playing this game, which is really good news for this Louisville team. So, it's really good news there for this Louisville team. Next game is against Wake Forest. Wake Forest was a top 15 team last year. Might be again this year. Have a great chance to be a great team, like they were last year. And, their quarterback was really solid. Their quarterback is probably one of those top 10 quarterbacks coming back this year. Sam Hartman is one of those key players. The question is, how can he handle against Louisville in this game? I think it's going to be a back and forth, though. But I think I had to go with Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest is a top 15 team. I know it sounds crazy that I think Wake Forest will win, but I think Louisville, will hang in there in the entire game, but it's just not going to be enough. I know it sounds, like a disappointing loss. It is a disappointing loss for Louisville here, but I think they will be close. And then they take care of business against James Madison, so they get a break there as well. And then there's that game on the road at Clemson. And the month of November is really tough for, the final 3 games are tough. Clemson here first, though. Clemson going to be an interesting team this year. I think Clemson will be better than people might say. People are not really expecting Clemson to be better again, but I think this team is still really good. Let's be honest. I think they will control the ACC again this season. And I think Clemson does win this one. I don't really see Louisville, competing. Maybe in the first half they do, but the second half I think it's all Clemson. I think it will be a, high-scoring first half in this one, but Clemson will pull away, and I think the Tigers will win. And there's that game at home against NC State. NC State's a team that you've got to watch out for. These are 2 great offenses going at it here. Let's be honest, these are 2 great offenses here. NC State, though, has more returning production coming back than Louisville. I think NC State gets it done. I think, it's a terrible loss for Louisville. Let's be honest, it's a terrible loss, but I think NC State just got more talent. Let's be honest, NC State was a great team last year, and they have a lot coming back this year on the offensive side of the ball. Really do not sleep on this NC State team. Then there's that final game on the road at Kentucky, the Governor's Cup here. And it seems like in the last few years, Kentucky has owned Louisville in football than they have in basketball. And, Kentucky has owned Louisville. Let's be honest. Kentucky is going to be another interesting team. Will Levis coming back at quarterback. Cunningham versus Levis. It's going to be a great quarterback showdown. I think it goes into the fourth quarter. Let's be honest. It's really closer than, last year as well. So, Kentucky doesn't return a lot on the offense, but Will Levis and Chris Rodriguez are really a great duo. And I think Kentucky does get it done here. I think, Kentucky maybe wins it by maybe 4 or maybe, 7 points, maybe by a field goal. You never know. But it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's a rival game. It's one of the most heated rivals actually in the country. So stay tuned for that. And then there's that final prediction for Louisville. It comes out to be 7-5, so a positive record for Louisville, better than last year. But who knows? Louisville still can go 6-6, maybe 8-4. There's a possibility there, but I got 7-5 for the Louisville Cardinals. Give me your thoughts on this team down in the comments below, and we will continue to do more predictions throughout the week. Stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.